All right, shalom. Shalom. Back at her again another week to prophesy the downfall of this wicked kingdom. Before we get started, we want to give all praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Kakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone, and shalom to all the Akim, that are in this truth and sincerity. Okay, and we're gonna start this off going into the downfall of this kingdom, man, which is Babylon the Great in the scriptures. All right, but we're gonna start off with Joel chapter 2.
Good. This is Joel chapter 2. In verse 1, it says, "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. For the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand."
Right. So the day of the Lord is nigh at hand. That means it's near, man. All right. And it said, "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion." That's what we're doing right now spiritually. All right. That's why the scripture says, "Lift up your voice like a trumpet." All right. We're blowing that trumpet right now. Okay. By lifting up our voices and speaking the words of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. All right. Read on.
Verse 2, "A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong there had not seen ever like it, ever the like, neither shall be any more after it."
Right. So this day that's coming, it's a day of darkness, man. It's a day of gloominess. All right. And that's symbolically speaking of wisdom. These people, when that day comes, these people ain't gonna know what's happening, man. They ain't gonna have the answers. So they're gonna be in darkness. But right now, these people are already in darkness, man. These people are already in gross darkness. But when that day comes, it's gonna be a dark, gloomy day, man. All right, it's gonna be a terrible time. The scripture says there has never been a time like that. Okay, that's the time of Jacob's trouble. All right, read on.
Neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations.
Right, so there's never ever gonna be a time like that ever on the planet Earth, man. Okay, it's gonna be worse than slavery. It's gonna be worse than 70 AD, man. All right, it's gonna be worse than all these horrific events that happen throughout history. Okay, it's gonna be a terrible time. People gonna be eating their own children. All right, and that happened before in the past. People gonna be getting their doors kicked in. They're gonna have their children killed in front of them. All right, this is what's coming to this wicked ass kingdom, man. All right, and that's the judgment from the Heavenly Father. All right, because the Most High hates America. Okay.
Read on. Verse 3, "A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness."
So that's going into those thermonuclear ICBMs, man. It says a fire burneth before them. That's going into those missiles, man. And that's gonna be the thing that wipes this place off the map. Those thermonuclear ICBMs, man. These people don't think. These people don't realize that all these different nations are making building up their nuclear arsenal to destroy this place, man. These people are completely oblivious because the Lord put that spirit of blindness on these people, man. Only a select few could see what's going on. All right. And it says the land is as the Garden of Eden, man. Because right now everything is all good, man. Because right now everything's all good, man. You could go out, you can eat. There's still beautiful places in America, like Alaska. There's a lot of beautiful land in America, man. But this place is still gonna be destroyed because the blood of the saints was spilled here. Can you get that in Numbers? Is that Numbers 23 where it says the land can't be cleansed? Because Columbus Day just passed a few days ago, man. And if you know about Christopher Columbus, which his real name was Cristobal Colon, he spilled a lot of blood, man, on his land. He spilled a lot of blood of the Taino Indians, the indigenous people, which are really Israelites, man. He spilled a lot of blood in this land, man. So that's why that's another reason, as well as a plethora of other reasons why this place has to be destroyed, man. This place has to be wiped out.
35, 33. This is Numbers chapter 35 and verse 33. Numbers 35 and verse 33. It says, "So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood is defiled the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but the blood of him that shed it."
All right, so this land has been polluted, man. Like I mentioned that demon Christopher Columbus, Cristobal Colon, he spilled the blood of a lot of Israelites, man, on this land. So this land is polluted, man, and the scripture says the only way that this land could be cleansed is by the blood of him that shed it. And who shed it, man? The so-called white race, man, the red Hebrew Edomites. All right, the bloodline of Christopher Columbus still lives on today, and it wasn't just him, man. It was his men. All right. All types of Edomite devils, man, like Andrew Jackson, all right, all types of devils, General Custer, all right, all these devils, their bloodline lives on, and then going back to the time of Jim Crow, man, hundreds of thousands of Israelites were lynched here in America, man, by just everyday Edomites, all right. So, and their families live on to this very day, man. So their blood has to be shed.
I got a quick precept for you, bro. This is Nahum chapter 3, verse 1. It says, "Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not." And as the brother was saying, man, he was going into how Esau had shed the blood of the children of Israel, and the only way to make good on them shedding the blood is for their blood to be shed as well, man. You know, and it may seem harsh, but the scripture tell you that this is a righteous thing to recompense tribulation to those that trouble you, man. So in order to cleanse this land that is a bloody city, according to Nahum, the people that shed the blood of the children of Israel, their blood has to be shed. Right.
I for that. Yep. Right. This is a very polluted land, man. Right now we're probably walking on the bones and the blood of our ancestors, man. They got killed here, man. All right. You can go ahead.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and established a city by iniquity.
Right, so this devil built this city, built this kingdom on blood, man. All right, he came over here and claimed that he discovered a land that was already being dwelt in, man, and he started building after he slaughtered hundreds of or really millions of Israelites, man, and then he started building up his kingdom, and he got the so-called Negroes, which is really the tribe of Judah, Benjamin and Levi over here to build up his kingdom after he slaughtered millions of so-called natives, man.
Yeah. Hey, and then Esau want to tell us, hey, to get over slavery. It's been so long ago, but you're still reaping the benefits of the blood, you know, and the works of our people, man.
Right.
You know, the blood, sweat, and tears that our people came over here and built America up with. You're still reaping the benefits. That's why you're able to walk up and down the sidewalk and watch some niggas throw pigskin up and down the field, man. You know, go to Georgia Tech's games versus Clemson, man, and walk around here proud. All right, Edomite can walk up and down the street with an open container and be drunk, man. You know, because this is what their forefathers had built for them, man. They can walk around here with no care in the world, man. You know, but let one of you Negroes do that. You know, you're gonna be thrown in the back of a paddy wagon, man.
That's why the scripture says that this devil, he's not in trouble like other men. All right, because the same punishments that the nation of Israel receives in this wicked kingdom, you know, just for little shit, man. Your traffic light might be busted, and Jake will get put to death just for that. All right, this devil isn't in trouble like other men, man. All right. Oh, was there any more on that?
No, I got something else. This is Amos chapter 9 and verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord Yahweh are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, said the Lord.
So the eyes of the Lord, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, are on the sinful kingdom, man. And those eyes are going into the angels, man. The angels are around everywhere, documenting everything that's going on in this kingdom, man. And it says he will destroy it from off the face of the earth, man, because this place is a wicked kingdom, man, and it gotta go. All right, the kingdom of heaven can't be established with this wicked ass kingdom still existing, man. All right, for the kingdom of heaven to be established, this place gotta be destroyed first. Okay. Was that it on that? Oh, you got anything?
I still got Isaiah.
Con, you can get that.
This is Isaiah chapter 13, verse 1. It says, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amos, did see. Lift ye up a banner unto the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles.
Right, so that's what we're doing right now, man. We're lifting up this banner, man. The 12 tribe sign. All right, the scriptures. We're lifting up this banner on a high mountain. That high mountain is America. All right, because mountains symbolize kingdoms. All right, and that this is the greatest kingdom to ever exist. And I'm not saying that like it's a good thing. This is the most wicked kingdom that's ever existed, man. It's more wicked than Babylon. It's more wicked than Egypt. All right. And this kingdom has all those the philosophies of those different kingdoms all bunched up in one, man. All right. I'll read on.
Isaiah 13 and 4. The noise of the multitude in the mountains, like as the great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts, mustereth the host of the battle.
Right, and that's what Yahweh Shema Shah is doing right now in the Middle East, man. That's what he's doing with all these nations, man. All right, he's gathering up all these nations over there in the valley of decision, which is Yahweh Shema. All right, and that's going into World War III. All right, read on.
Verse 5. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, the weapons of him. Salaki, the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand, it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty.
Right, so the day of the Lord is at hand, man. All right, you see all the signs. You see the chariots. All right, you see the signs in the moon and the sun. All right, so the day of the Lord is near, man. You see all these earthquakes, that the wildfires that were going on in California. All right, the hurricane that just passed, that fucked up the land. So you see all these signs, and those are the signs that Yahweh Shai said would come before he returns, man. As a matter of fact, you get Matthew chapter 24, and you can read on.
Okay. I had a quick reason. This is Amos chapter 5, verse 18. It says, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light.
Right, and that's for you wacky tacky Christians out there that think the day of the Lord is going to be sunshines and rainbows, man. Or you think the day of the Lord is just going to be a so-called white man coming in the clouds with his arms open, getting ready to hug everybody. All right, that's for you wacky tacky Christians, man. Woe to you that desire the day of the Lord. That means destruction to you, all right, because you don't know what the day of the Lord has in store. All right, you don't know the judgment and the cruelty that's coming in the day of the Lord, man.
Right. You Christians are some big ass hypocrites because they expect, all lollipops and candy for their salvation, but want to piss on someone in a plane. What kind of shit is that?
That's including you Israelites too, man.
Right.
Majority of you Israelites are seeking the day of the Lord, but you ain't doing a goddamn thing for it. So really, you down bad worse than these so-called Christians because you've been exposed to what you're supposed to be doing and you just don't do it.
Right, and the scriptures talk about they'll be beaten with more stripes who know the will of the Lord. Especially if you're an Israelite, man, you know the will. You know what the will of the Lord is. Also, the last video that Apostle Ramlab did, in that video he said that these camps and these other groups, they're waxing worse and worse. Prime example, Apostle Ramlab did a whole video on what that IUIC class was about over that Job 31. Bro, I didn't watch that one yet. But the Job 31 talking about if I sleep with another woman, then my woman could go sleep with whoever. That's not what Job was speaking about. That goes to show you that it's waxing worse and worse. All right? They waxing worse and worse. They just like a big old extravagant Baptist church, man.
They're just IUIC and all these other camps are just they're just Christian. It's just Christianity with a Hebrew twist.
With a twist, right?
You know, so like they both, all of them. You think they don't teach their congregation about the great tribulation is coming on the earth?
Yeah.
So in their spirit, they desire the day of the Lord,
right?
But they don't got no fear for it.
IUIC said there ain't gonna be no Jacob's trouble. What kind of shit is that?
Hey, when I seen that video, man, I was like, at that point, that's when I would have put my resignation in, man.
It's time to stand up and walk out.
Yeah, man, that's when it's time to walk up. That's not what Job was speaking about, man.
Not at all.
That shows you that they're not the true men of the Lord, man. Because they're not breaking down the scriptures the right way. They're not rightly dividing the word, man. All right, they're teaching the things for filthy lucre's sake. All right, that's why they teach things that are good, like the scripture said for itching ears. All right, because they want those women in there, because those women bring in men. All right, but so going back on topic,
100% correct.
What
kind of shit is that?
This is Matthew chapter 24, and I'm going to start in verse 4. It says, "And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you."
Hey, that's the spirit. Take heed that no man deceive you, man, because there's a lot of deceivers out here in the world, man. IUIC being a prime example. All right, you know?
Verse 5, "For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many."
Right, and that's these other camps that are not teaching the correct doctrine, man. These are those other camps that are they're teaching for filthy lucre's sake, man, and not warning Israelites of the dangers that are to come. All right.
Verse 6, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet."
Right. We've seen the rumors of wars, man. The beginning of the year 2020 year of prophecy, man. The beginning of the year, we see those rumors of wars, and they continue to today, man, with these other countries gathering their nuclear arsenal. All right. Why do you think they're building up the nuclear arsenal? Because they're going to use it on America. All right. And America's allies are going to turn against this place, man. All right.
That's exactly what
Verse 7, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom.
you could, I'm done.
And there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places."
Right, and all those things are happening today, man. All right, nations are rising against nations. That's going into these different nations, and that's also going into the race wars too. All right, nation rising against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. All right, America against Russia, America against China. All right, all these other nations, all their allies. All right, and ultimately it's going to lead to this place being hit with missiles, man, from every side. All right, you know?
"All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you. And you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake."
Right.
Verse 10, then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another.
Right, and that's the times we're in right now, man. The love of many waxing cold, man. Back in the day, people used to like introduce themselves to their neighbors and shit. Meet their neighbors. Those days are over, man. We ain't in those times no more, man. The love of many is waxing cold. All right, and I believe it's gonna say that if you read down.
And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many.
There's many false prophets out there, man. We just mentioned IUIC, man. They're breaking down the scriptures wrong. All right, they're not rightly dividing the word. So they're doing it for that money. All right, they're not warning Israel of the time of Jacob's trouble. All right, but the true men of the Lord are actually going to go into the scriptures and actually show you the times that we're in, man. The true men of the Lord are actually going to break down the signs, man. Okay? You know?
And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Right, the love of many are waxing cold, man. And you see that. You know, back in the day, it used to be like, white people or black people can get along. No, those days are over, man. All right, that's why these cops are putting these Israelites to death, man. All right, what was that chick's name? Yeah, Breonna Taylor. All right, that's just a prime example, man. And really, that was just judgment from the Lord, man. Okay, right. And we're living in those times of love waxing cold.
Hey, and there's gonna be many more Breonna Taylors, man, in that day, you know. And what's that, George Floyd and all that. That's gonna be on a regular day basis, man. You know, it's making headlines now, but in the day that the brother is speaking about, man, that's gonna be the new norm. You know, Jake being put to death, these Edomites being put to death, you know, not being able to drink Bud Light and watch the game and shit. You know, all of that's coming to an end, man. Once the day of the Lord hits, you know. So, hey, Esau might as well live it up, man. You know, I ain't even mad at him. Shit, it's his kingdom, you know. But, hey, the kingdom is soon to be translated from one hand to the other, man. And destruction has to happen in order for that to take place. You got it.
Verse 13. For he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved.
All right, so that's the key, and that shows you that we're actually going to have to go through that time of trouble, man, because we're actually going to have to endure it. All right, but the Lord's going to put the spirit on the elect to endure it, man, because the elect have been predestined to be saved, man. So the elect's going to endure it, man. All right, and Elder Apostle Tahar, he did that video going into will the elect be forced to take this chip? But the elect ain't going to be forced to take that chip, man. Okay? Because it says in Revelation, matter of fact, you get Revelation 3 and 10. All right? The elect ain't going to take that chip. The Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai ain't going to let the elect be tempted by Satan like that. All right?
Revelations chapter 3 and verse 10. And it reads, 99%. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth.
So that hour of temptation is going into the time when the so-called white man, the brand new Edomite, pushes that RFID marker chip on the people, man, which is that's the mark of the beast. All right, so the time's gonna come where you can't go to the store and buy food, so you're gonna have a chip. All right, and that's the hour of temptation. It's gonna come upon all the world, man. It's not just gonna be in America. It's gonna be in all these different countries, man. Europe. All right, it's gonna be all these different countries, and they're not gonna like straight up force people, but they're gonna tempt people to take that chip. All right, but the Lord said He's gonna keep us from the hour of temptation. Okay, so the elect ain't gonna take that chip. All right. So you can be on. Oh, you got it.
Yeah, blow out all the cannabis or something else. Yeah, you had all the cannabis. Verse 14, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
Right. And we're seeing the gospel being preached in all the world, man. All right, we're seeing different camps popping up in these different countries that we never even thought there would be a camp at. All right, there's camps right now in Italy, man. There's GMS Italy, man. There's GMS Ghana, if I'm not mistaken. There's GMS camps in Africa, man. So that shows you that this gospel is being preached in all the world, man. Okay, and that's just another sign that we're at the very last seconds of this kingdom, because the word's out. word is already out, man, through the internet. All right.
Verse 15, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. This is Matthew 24:21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be.
So it's gonna be a time that, just like it said in what was that other? Yeah, the book of Daniel. There's never been a time ever before that's coming, man. The time that we're getting ready to come into, man, Jacob's trouble. There's never been a time like that before. All right, and you could
Okay.
Verse 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh. There should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
Right. So for the sake of the elect, man, the Lord is shortening the days. All right, and it seems like time is getting shorter, man. It really feels like time is speeding up. All right, because we're at the climax of this movie. All right, and the Lord's getting ready to make his second appearance. All right, to deliver the elect. All right, because it's all about the elect at the end of the day, man. The elect is going to be the only ones that make it out of this hellhole, man. When the missiles hit.
All right, verse 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Hamashiach, or there, believe it not.
Yeah.
For there shall arise false Christ, or false Hamashiach, and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
Right. So there's going to arise false prophets, man. That's going into these other Israelite camps. They're not teaching the correct thing, man. And also that's going into how this devil's going to try to tempt the elect with that chip, man. All right, with that Neuralink brain implant. You saw showing with that they can make paraplegics walk again. All right, they're showing with that they can make people who are completely paralyzed from the neck down be able to move. All right, and that's going into those wonders, man. That Esau is going to try to use to make it look like that chip is a good thing, but that's not going to deceive the elect.
Right. And also, act as if he's the Most High, man. If you got a guy that's been crippled or lame since birth and he received that Neuralink and is able to walk, that's them trying to mimic what the Lord can do, man.
Bro, somebody make you walk, man, you're gonna bow down.
Yeah, let that shit happen. You gonna all these jakes that been retarded from birth and got all kind of defects, and that chip is presented to them. Hey, man, they're gonna take it, and that's a very tempting thing, man. That's on a severe level, but everyday Jake, he gonna want it just because he want to get into the local grocery store, man. He gonna want it because his kids and his wife ain't ate in a couple of hours, man. Not even a couple of days.
Just because it's trending. Niggas don't want it just because it's trending.
Yeah, just because it's trending, it's the new thing to do, man. But when it goes into them trying to tempt the elect, it's not gonna happen, man. The hour temptation, because we have kept his patience, the Lord is going to keep us, man. In that day.
We've been able to see it coming.
Right.
A lot of people don't see it coming, so they're going to fall in the snare.
Right.
And most people don't even believe that's the mark of the beast either.
Right. Exactly.
They don't know what that, chip is like. A lot of people don't believe, actually know of Revelations 13 and 16. We bring it out so much, it seems like it's common knowledge, but a lot of people don't know about that.
I be watching the brother in South Carolina. He's going walking talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, he asked Jay, you ever heard of the Mark of the Beast? He's looking at it like he got 3 heads.
Got the niggas in the South, like, what? Mark of who?
Mark who? What are you talking about? You got it. This is Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 6. It says, "Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed. They shall be amazed one to another. Their faces shall be as flames." Verse 9, "Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it."
Right, so that's getting ready to happen to America, man, because the Lord isn't pleased what's going on here, man. All right, so the Lord's gonna make everyone's he's gonna make these people's worst nightmares come to pass, man. It's gonna get ugly out here. Like it says, man's heart shall melt. All right, a lot of men are just gonna straight up have a heart attack because of the cruel things that are gonna be happening. Okay. Is there any more on that? That's it. Let me see. Oh, the first one you skip down to 11.
God, this is Isaiah 13 and 11. "And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lie low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even as a man than the golden wedge of Ophir."
Right. So in the times that we're coming into, man, the elect are going to be the only ones with the answers, man. Like it says in Isaiah 33:6. So in that day, those men are going to be precious, man. Those men are going to be rare because everyone else is going to lose their wits. Everyone else ain't going to know what the fuck's going on, man. But the elect are going to be the ones with the answers. So that's going to make us, Lord willing, we're the elect. That's going to make us like gold in that day, man. All right, people are going to gravitate to us. People are going to want the answers. Okay? Read on.
Verse 13, "Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as chased roe, and as sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land."
Right, so that's what these heathens are going to be doing that day, man. It says that they shall be like the chased road, all right, because there's going to be so much killing going on. People are going to be getting chased, man, and they're going to. It says they're going to go back to their own land, or they're going to be amongst themselves, and that's what happens in prison. When people go to prison, they stick to their own.
They stick to their own,
right? So that's what's going to be happening in America, man. When shit hits the fan.
That's that lack of trust, trustworthiness, so to speak.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna start, actually clinging, which they've been doing, but it's gonna get more concentrated.
Yeah.
Because you had the integration time. First it was segregation, then you had more nations get integrated for corporate profits. But really they see this corporation is collapsing, and the only one that they can actually depend on is their own. So that's really the wisest option to your own. Turning back into that wild life, that natural instinct. You don't see the lions hanging with the hyenas, man. Or the lions actually making it with, like on fucking Madagascar. That's off, man. But see, people have that ideology that's how the world is supposed to be. That's not how the world's supposed to be.
Scripture say, "Get thee like-minded men that you know that keepeth the commandments."
I got a quick precept for you, bro. This is Ecclesiastes or Sirach chapter 13 and verse 15. It says, "Every beast loveth his life,
That's it.
and every man loveth his neighbor. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his life."
Right. All right, so like the brothers were saying, it's gonna go back to that, man. It's gonna go back to being like the ancient world. All right. It's gonna be like what's that? It's gonna be like the road. It's gonna go back to being like the ancient world, man. People gonna be the movie I was trying to think of was Mad Max. Yeah, man. It's gonna be like the ancient world, man. It's gonna be like a damn desert out here. All right, people gonna be eating each other. All right, people gonna be riding around. Gangs are gonna be riding around just killing and raping. Yeah. It's gonna get ugly, man.
Yeah, it's gonna, they got the saying, birds of a feather flock together. Yeah. And it ain't gonna be like you get the picture in that day. It's gonna be just a band of white. Hey, it's gonna be some jakes in the midst of that.
Yeah.
And are they gonna be getting lynched? No. Some of them gonna actually be assembled with the white men. Mm-hmm. Same thing now. Like you have the Republican bodies and the Democratic bodies, and there's whites and blacks, actually in conjunction with one another to fight a common enemy. It's gonna be the same thing.
Yeah. Again, like the scriptures say, we in Sirach 37, get the like-minded men, and even in jail, you brought the perspective of jail. Even like you have a lot of Mexican or Latino bloods. Yep. You have white bloods. The races that will mesh together in common goals.
You got blacks and Mexican gangs too.
Right. So what they do is, like you said, when they get to prison, they have to make a decision at that point. Do I go with my race or do I go with my cause? And then, like you said, so it's gonna be a lot of just bands of, like you're saying, that spirit of Mad Max, that warriors, going back into that cliques and posses and gangs and cowboys, and it's gonna get very tribal and clanny. Militias is another word. Yep.
Because they said, which I was listening to the news, and they said the militias grew over 800% during the time of Obama's presidency.
Yeah.
Now you got all these different militias that's coming through the woodwork, like the situation that happened in Michigan. With the they was looking to kill the governor,
kidnap her or something,
kidnap the governor. And it's going to be more and more occurrences where they're actually just looking to self-destruct within the government, so to speak, whether destroying property or actually coming against the cops. That's where you have Black Lives Matter and these different protests, assimilations. It's going to keep going like that. It ain't going to slow down. Yeah. And it was like, shit, this is like, you think about militias, you think about Afghanistan, Kuwait, was it Oman? I think if that's the country name. Those different countries within the Middle East. This is becoming just like the Middle East, man. These armed militias and things of that nature.
And then these white boys, they've been militia because in the Constitution, that's the checks and balances of the government. You form militias as
you form armed militias, yeah.
Armed militias, that when they believe that's the whole point of the right to bear arms.
Right. Which those armed militias back then was really for the sake of protecting the government. But now these militias that's springing up, they're actually anti-government. They're actually fighting against the government.
Well, you have, if I may, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but you have like your militias that are more supportive of Trump.
Yeah.
And then on your left, your leftist Democrats, or your Antifa.
Yeah, far right.
But which is anti-fascist, and then you have your Proud Boys, which would be considered under that militia Trump supporting. It's just so many devils with different goals.
Yeah, different ideologies.
Mm-hmm. All of that's Project Megiddo.
Yeah.
Because that's giving them an excuse to execute that plan.
Yep.
That's it.
But,
categorize you.
That just shows you how divided America is, man. It's a divided kingdom. But you can get that.
I think militias support this government.
Get that section.
Yeah, they protect them.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15.
Antifa.
And
that's right.
Yeah. I started 15. Verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draws nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands.
There's gonna be all types of gangs. All right, it's gonna get tribal, man. It's gonna be different cliques of people fighting against each other, man. Like the brothers mentioned, Antifa, the Proud Boys. All right,
it's really
all these people gonna be fighting each other in that day, man. It's gonna be a big war. All right, in the streets of America. Okay.
Until something. Yeah, something else keeps occurs in time. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, you bring up.
Isaiah 19:2. And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian,
That's
and
it.
they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom.
Yeah, because it said city against city. Because these Egyptians, like we were saying, they all have different ideologies. Even if we just stay right here in Georgia, an Edomite that's in North Georgia is completely different. Like Georgia's broken up into different parts. Like you have the coastal part, right? That's like your Florida, that's your wetlands. Then you have your ridgeland area. You know what I'm saying? You have different parts. You know, so an Edomite that's from North Georgia, this Piedmont area of Georgia, as they call it, this Atlanta, is completely different than an Edomite that's from Savannah.
Are they totally different?
Totally different. If you sat them at a table, it would go to blows because one side they're polar opposites, hot and cold, negative, positive. And this shit ain't gonna just stick to a, well, agree to disagree. How people been agreeing to disagree. Like we've been saying, when this election night come, it's going to solidify the next 4 years, and there's only going to be one winner. So one side's going to lose and be heated, and nobody likes to lose, man. And Esau's the ultimate sore loser.
Yeah, a lot of people gonna be getting their asses beat. Some people gonna be getting killed. They gotta have a strong grudge on the government, whoever it may be, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans. They're gonna still be gunning down for their enemies to basically feel it's gonna be a lot of recoil, so to speak, from this election.
That's right.
Stand back and stand by.
Stand back and stand by.
The boy's ready, goddamn. And he might not leave.
He said if he lose, he might not leave.
And see, I'm gonna throw it back to the brother. Now you have which that's coming under scrutiny. And they had this one chick which I was doing a lesson on, Amy Cohen. I forget how to pronounce her name, but she's basically gonna be Amy Cohen. She's basically a nominee for the Supreme Court.
Justice. Yep. She's young as fuck.
Yeah, and basically they're trying to figure out her viewpoints on abortion, and basically various other factors. And they asked her about Trump, if he's willing to if he's not willing to resign, what's her viewpoints on that? And she's basically these politicians and shit like that, they master snakes, man.
Yes.
So basically she wasn't willing to answer the question whether she's actually in support of it or she's not in support of it. She was like, due to the fact that that's a pending situation, and whatever she does can actually lead towards basically her actually having a preconceived decision, which is true. So she basically stood on her position of not to answer. But you see, that's one major thing that's taking place. But you see that it is a lot of politicians that are in support of Trump actually not even leaving the office if he's actually not even elected president. And they say, all right, due to the fact that Russia tampered with the
elections last time.
the elections last time.
They say they're doing it again.
And they say they're doing it again.
With these long waiting lines. Like, you got to be a real retard. You are a retard if you go stand in these voting lines. You are an idiot.
Right.
Just, it ain't, there's no breakdown to it. It's just, I just want to throw that out there. You're an idiot, okay? Because that's part of the narrative that they're trying to push, as far as, there's voter tampering, and they're trying to sell this story, man. Like, I forgot, there's that quote, politicians is showbiz for ugly people. It's just a big act. It's a big reality show.
This is from USA Today. It says, this is from October 7th. It says, the country's lost its mind. Polls warning of civil war violence shows deep partisan challenge over election.
Crazy.
So basically, they saying on election night they expect it to be violence and certain things that has to go downhill that week.
Yeah, everybody already getting prepared to get violent if they, whether Biden is president or Trump is president. More so Biden is president. Those Trump supporters, man, they ready to tear shit up. And you know, he basically they say he didn't condemn white supremacists. And he'll say certain little light remarks against white supremacists. Rarely, you know, you have to find like some snippets and show. He did say something against white supremacists, but really, he trying to have those white supremacists on his side. On his side, man. Right. You know, get the white supremacists vote. Exactly.
As he should.
As he should. To be honest.
Really though, all these damn devils are fucking Edomite supremacists at the end of the day, man. But you can read that last verse.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another.
Right. So when you go into the word sedition, that means an uprising against the government. That's a lot of that's about to happen, man. And matter of fact, brothers mentioned when they try to kidnap that the
governor.
Yeah, that governor. All right, so it's going to be way worse than that, man. They showed you that on Purge election year, man.
Yeah.
All right, they were lynching the politicians. All right, that's going to be happening, man, in real life. Okay?
They shall not regard their kings or princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
All right, so pretty soon these people, they ain't going to care what these politicians got to say, man. All right, they're just going to do whatever they see is the right thing to do. Okay? They're going to do their own power, like the scripture says, man. All right, so with that, I'm going to step down. I'm going to let the next brother step in.
Crazy.
And I'm going to continue on in what the brother's going into. You know, we see this place is divided. All right, we see these different militia groups preparing for all-out war, man. Okay, and a lot of you people that's continuing to be comfortable here, man, you're gonna get caught out here and get destroyed, man. Okay, because hey, man, we know the Lord will protect the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay, no matter what comes upon this place, man. All right, you got that.
This was a big fucking joke.
You go ahead.
Them niggas were a lot of our shit.
Matter of fact, you can get Ezekiel 33. We'll start at 7.
All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 33 and verse 7. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel.
Yep, that's right. The Lord has his watchman out. And who's the watchman? The prophets. All right, we're watching what's going on in the news, filtering through the scriptures. All right, warning out people, man. Tell them what's about to come upon this place, man. Continue on.
It says, therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth.
That's right. The Lord speaks to his prophets. Okay?
And warn them from me.
That's right. And warn them from me. All right? We're telling our people, the Lord is bringing all these plagues upon this place, man. Okay? Telling our people this place will be destroyed. Okay? Telling our people Esau will go into captivity. Okay? We're telling our people RFID chip, which is marks of the beast, will remain medical. Okay? If you take that chip, you'll be destroyed. Okay? We're telling our people that people, you know, will be thrown in the female camps. Women will be raped. All right? These things are coming. All right?
Yeah. Really even pushing that spirit of shooting shit, push you in that same boat with you know, anything that's going to
push you. This is the book of Mark chapter 3 and verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself,
that's right. We see that this kingdom is divided. All right. We see that Russia is against America. Okay, but we see that it's the descendants of Esau, you know, that's running, you know, both of these kingdoms. Right? All right.
On top of that, you shoot guns like
that kingdom cannot stand.
That's right, that kingdom cannot stand. All right, so we know that this place will come into an end.
All right, they being that Judas Iscariot trying to force the Holy Spirit.
You know, you have the beast, which is NATO, which is basically what they call the Western world, the West, right? So like the brother said, you got Russia as well. You got Russia, you got NATO, you got America. Both at the end of the day, they're all Edomites. So, and they're against one another. Russia has one way of achieving their own new world order with their own allies, and then the elites on the other side of the world, you know, the beast NATO, they have one way of doing it. And if they're clashing, because really, if they should all be together. But if they're clashing, the kingdom can't stand.
Why are you publicizing?
You know, that's why the Lord said He's coming. In that mountain, in that chariot, he's going to take all the crowns. He's going to destroy all the kingdoms.
And really, to be honest, we're not really big.
We'll take it all the way out.
Verse Verse 25.
If we
And
really
if a house be divided against itself, the house.
So we see this behind. Okay, we see the Democrats against the Republicans. Okay, even though we know behind closed doors, you know, they're working together, man, but they have the same agenda in mind, man.
The house cannot stand.
That's right, the house cannot stand. All right, we're seeing this division in America, which is Babylon the Great. All right, we already know that this battle here, and it's going to get even worse, you know, heading into November, man. All right, with the election coming up, you know, whoever the new president is, man, we know all hell's about to break loose out here, man.
Hey, and we hope something does break loose. We hope that Satan doesn't come to pass.
That's right.
So where these people turn on one another. But that's the problem. If they turn on each other, that means we get our kingdom that much.
Overall. That's right. You know, because we know Jacob and Esau cannot be ruling at the same time, man. All right, we know Esau has to fall for Jacob to come up and rule, man. All right, continue on.
gotta stand in the middle.
And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand.
That's right, he cannot stand. All right, and we see that Esau Edom is divided. All right, these devils can't get along. All right, these devils may have the same agenda in mind, but these devils are divided ultimately, man. All right, and what's going to happen? They're going to go down, and these damn devils will go into captivity, man. All right, you get that in Revelation.
This is Revelation chapter 19 and verse 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him.
That's right. We know that the Apostle John, that an angel came to the Apostle John, and he had fell down at the angel's feet. Okay, we continue on.
And he said unto me, see thou do it not.
That's
I
right.
am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua.
That's right. You know, we don't worship angels. Okay? The angels are our brothers. All right? You continue on. And the testimony of Yahushua. All right? And what's the testimony of Yahushua? You continue on.
Worship the Most High. For the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy.
That's right. The testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. All right, so if you're claiming to be a prophet, what you're supposed to be doing? Prophesying, going to these scriptures. All right, telling that people what's about to come upon this place. Okay, because if you're not doing that, all right, you're a false prophet, man. All right, if you're a man of the Lord, you're going to be doing the things that the Lord commanded of you, man. All right,
Really, you can't say that you believe in the Bible and teach the Bible if you're not prophesying.
Right.
If you're not breaking down these prophecies, you can't really say that you're a follower of the scriptures. Because to be a part of the Savior, Yahushua, you have to prophesy.
That's right.
Who can but prophesy?
That's right. Who can but prophesy?
That's right. You can continue on.
Verse 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse.
That's right, you know, and that's going into Yahushua returning in pure power. All right, you continue on.
And he that sat upon him was called faithful and true.
Yep, that's Yahushua. You continue on.
And in righteousness he does judge and make war.
That's right, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to make war and judge you nations, man, when he returns. All right, he's not coming back to play games with you wicked people, man. All right, you continue on.
His eyes were as a flame of fire,
Yep.
and on his head were many crowns.
That's right, he's going to take down many kingdoms and nations. All right, when he returns. Okay, you can hold Joel 3 and 9, but Rashad, you continue on.
And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself.
That's right, you know. And we know that the body, all right, we know that the elected 1/3 of the nation of Israel knows the name, all right, knows the name Yahushua. All right, he delivers, he saves. Okay, you continue on.
And he was clothed in a vesture dipped with blood.
Yep. And we know, man, when our Lord Yahushua returns, it's going to be a lot of bloodshed. All right, a lot of people will get put to death, man. We know a lot of nations will be took down. Okay? Matter of fact, when you hold Isaiah 63, Baba Kashah, we can go there. You can go ahead and get that. Isaiah 63 and 1. You start at the top. It's more on that.
Just a little more. And his name was called the Word of the Most High.
Yep, that's right. That's Yahushua. Continue on.
And the armies which were in heaven.
Well, why doesn't Nate call on the name of the Word of God? That's a better name to call than Jesus. It'd be better than to say that.
Well, yeah, when you read the book of Acts, they was praying to the unknown God, and even unto in the time of Acts, which really we know the name, and which they was praying unto idols.
Right.
But you know, if you don't know the name, it's better than, like you said, better than saying Jesus. Because when you actually break down the word Jesus, it means earth pig, man. Because first off, the letter J, which we all know, J didn't come out till 1735, if I'm not mistaken. 1700s.
E, I think E is one of the last letters added to.
J, E, U. It was I think O.
I think V.
V.
Yeah.
That's why when you go into ancient texts, when you go into these different like the scriptures, you don't see in the 1611 you don't see Jesus. Jesus isn't even in the 1611 Bible, man.
It's replaced with an I.
It's replaced with an I.
I got a question for you. How accurate is the name Yeshua?
Yeshua.
We literally just said it. Those letters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those letters weren't around. So you got to actually. I always like to use this question when you go to Matthew the 1st chapter, and the angel came to Mary and said, "You shall name him this." What did his mama call him? How would his mama would have been able to call him Jesus, Yeshua, Jehovah? Those letters weren't even, like we just said. Those letters are a couple hundred years old. How?
You guys gotta remember, when it comes to names, those are pronouns. So your name doesn't change across translations of different languages. Your name is your name. That's why even when you go to Japan and they got McDonald's, they didn't give it a Japanese name. They're gonna have to say McDonald's. So,
or they would be like Taw Wow 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 Brandon, and they would go right in. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, not proper now. It's a proper now.
Proper, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So Yeshua, like you said, the E and the U were actually placed within the alphabet in latter times, so to speak. So actually calling his name Yeshua is inaccurate. It's Yahawashah. When you go into the Hebrew, you have the Ba, God, Da. You ever seen the Hebrew characters? You know, all the way to
we gotta.
So it's 22 characters in the Hebrew alphabet. All right. Aside from the English alphabet is what, 26. So if it's 26 in one language and then you have 22 in another, this some was added, and those added were actually English is a bastardized language. It actually corrupted the alphabet, because really alphabet, even when you go to the word alphabet, is Hebrew.
Yeah.
You know, it first originated from the Greek, which the Greek came and sprang from the Hebrew. So when you actually pronounce it, you have the matter of fact. Somebody get that in Matthew. What's that? 1:21, and they shall call his name. When you actually properly break it down, but I want to get this precept and I'll throw it back to you, bro.
All right, this is St. Matthew chapter 1 verse 21. And she shall bring forth a son.
And she shall bring forth a son, she being Mary. Keep on.
And thou shalt call his name Yahushua.
And thou shalt call his name Yahushua, but in the English it says Jesus. All right, so as we know, are we familiar with, brother got a 1611? No?
Yeah, on my phone.
On your phone?
King James.
Did it say Yahawashah?
No, it don't. It say Jesus.
Okay, I was gonna say,
Reading it verbatim, it says Jesus, but you know we'll say it in this.
I got you.
Properly saying it is Yahushua. But like I said, if you look in the actual 1611, it is say, if I'm not mistaken, it'll be pronounced like Jesus.
Jesus is I-E.
I-E, I think O, I don't know. If I'm not mistaken, O-S-U-S, Jesus. Which that's actually better than saying, you know, it's still incorrect, but it's the Greek way. It's actually more accurate than saying it the English way.
Right. But Hebrew language is older than Greek, right?
Hebrew language is way older than Greek.
Yeah.
You see?
That's the tongue that was the original language.
Right.
All languages spring out of Hebrew.
Everything sprang out of the Hebrew, because when you actually go back to the Genesis, it says, you know, Abram the Hebrew. In the beginning, which was the Lashawan Kodash, the Holy Tongue, the Hebrew, that was the original language. And then you see the separation of the nations, and then they all had their different dialects and they had their ways of actually speaking. You know, Latin came into play. You had Chinese, you got Japanese, you got hundreds, if not thousands, of languages that's actually, you know, all around the world. And then you'll see certain languages actually get more diluted in time. Like now, even the English we speak, this ain't even proper English.
Yeah, this is broken English.
This is broken English. If you go to the original kings and queens, you know, king's English, king's speech, it's totally different than how we speak today. How they actually write and everything. It's totally different, man.
The scriptures, the Bible that we read out of the King James, that's king's speech. The die,
die, thou,
That's king's speech.
Yeah, when you study languages, if you study like Russian, a lot of those different Japanese, a lot of those languages, the characters look exactly like the Greek. But then when you look at the Greek letters look a lot like the Hebrew. Because everything builds upon itself to the point that we are here. From the Tower of Babel, or Babel, excuse me.
That we said Russian.
Well, Russian, yeah, that's the spirit. Yeah, Russian. If you can speak fluent Greek, you can speak fluent Russian. Okay. If you learn Greek, it's basically like you can learn. If you learn Greek, you can learn like it's like 4 other languages that spin right off of it.
The Romance languages. You got Latin, French, Spanish. I think it's 3.
Spanish,
Latin,
Italian.
French, Spanish, yeah, and Italian. Right, which all go back to the Latin, which go into Greek, which go back to
that's Romans, right? That's
well, if I'm not mistaken,
well, just even now, but just the further you go back to certain languages, it's all going back to each other.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Because you were just mentioning because the Portuguese, when you got Mexicans who speak Spanish, but you'll hear someone from Portugal. Oh, they sound like they're actually speaking Portuguese.
Well, yeah, Spanish people can't go to Spain and speak.
Right. If someone from Portugal went to Mexico and started speaking, Mexicans wouldn't understand.
Same thing with
it's Spanish. I mean, it's a derivative.
It's ish.
It's Portuguese.
Yeah, pertaining to Spain.
I got a quick precept.
Or English is pertaining to England.
Yep.
You know, because when the white man took us down, he made us adopt his heritage and his customs and his language of speech. Going back to what was that? Roots. When Kunta Kinte was getting this nationality beat out of him, starting off with his name, which that's even in the scriptures. It says Jeremiah 17:4 says that we shall. Matter of fact, hold that on deck. Jeremiah 17:4. It said that we will discontinue from our heritage, and then you see that the slave master was constantly beating Kunta, and he was asking him, what's your name? And he kept trying to stick with his heritage and say his name was Kunta Kinte, but he was like, no, your name is Toby. So that was like the first, that was the starting point of them psychologically programming us into a whole new system. And they did the same thing with the Native Americans and the Latin tribes. When those Latin tribes didn't originally speak Spanish, hell, if you ask majority of these Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans, what language did you speak before Spanish? They don't know. They didn't even know that they spoke a language before Spanish.
I got a quick one.
You got something?
Yeah, this is Deuteronomy 28, and I'm going to start at 48. And it says, and therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things.
Right. And who was sent against us? You had the Spanish conquistadors. When they came here, they came on a conquest. All right, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, which what Columbus Day was not too long. It just passed last week. And when they came, they started breaking them down as a people and rearranging their principles. Like I said, now you have and even the Haitians. They speak Creole. Creole is an offshoot of French. You know, I used to talk to this Haitian chick. You know, she sounded like damn. I don't know if brothers remember Tom and Jerry. The little white mouse. The little white mouse. She was talking to her relative. I'm like, that was just like the mouse off of damn Tom and Jerry. But that mouse spoke French.
Yeah.
You know, because that Creole, when they was being taken down from the French with Napoleon, you know, they actually and various other French individuals, but everybody's familiar with Napoleon, which he was French. They started to actually They started to adopt that dialect or that language.
Read on. And it says, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Verse 49. And the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far and from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle fleeth.
Right. And what's the symbol of America? The eagle. The eagle is the symbol of America. So it said that he will come as swift as the eagle flieth. Keep going.
As swift as the eagle fleeth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Right, so that's why even when you deal with Christopher Columbus, he brought a Hebrew interpreter.
Yeah.
And he actually knew that they were Israelites here in the Americas. If you watch this movie, it's actually a really good movie you should watch. I think it's called 1492.
Yeah,
1492 with Christopher Columbus, and he was talking to I think he was a scholar of some sort. I don't know the exact profession that he was involved in, but he was basically talking about his expedition to the Americas. And then he basically was, the dude was basically like, you know, basically, as the saying, as the story goes, they basically said that he was trying to go to India, but he lost route and he basically fell into the Americas. That wasn't so. He had an expedition in the conquest to actually land here in America. And when you see,
he had big boy investors,
he had
teachers,
investors, individuals that what's it when you study the earth and
geography.
Geographers, but it's
like an oceanologist.
And
we did with maps. You got
cartographers, and he said that he read the book of Ezra.
Right.
And he said Ezra was a Jew, and he said so was Christ. So he actually read the book of Ezra, and when you actually go into Second Ezra, it speaks on 10 tribes where never mankind dwelt.
Yeah, which are the northern kingdom. That's how you got the natives, the Latinos on this side of the earth. A lot of scholars like to say that they came through the Bering Strait, from that bridge over from Russia through Alaska. That's how they got it. That's not so. That's just as big of a lie as they say Christopher Columbus got lost. Yeah. See how they said that he got lost on the way to India, but they got here through going through the Bering Strait.
And if they came through the Bering Straits, why wouldn't they take the similar route? If that was such an easy route to take from the Bering Straits to land from Russia, and like you said, you go through Alaska, the Arctic regions,
right,
and melted in the ice
bridge melted because they came thousands of years ago during the last ice age, and they got over here. Then it melted. Now they can't go back.
Because they don't want to tie in the fact that the natives are Israelites. They're the lost. They want to say that they are heathens and they come from Chinese people and shit like that. That's how they push the same thing as what they say with the Southern Kingdom, Judah. What do they call them? African Americans.
Right.
They're not Africans, but they put that on them to tell you who you are.
Right.
That's the reason of them to putting their lives on.
Yeah. I got that. I got that. What you mentioned in Ezra.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is Second Ezra, chapter 13. And this is the Apocrypha. These are the books that they took out. Second Ezra chapter 13 and 40. I started at 39. It says verse 39, and whereas thou sawest that he had gathered another peaceful multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes.
Another peaceable multitude, which Yasha'Allah, or is known as Yasha'Allah is the Prince of Peace. Prince of Power, excuse me. But Jerusalem is the city of peace, which is Jerusalem. So it said another peaceable multitude, which that multitude that was part of that, which was that peaceful multitude was talking about was the 10 tribes, what they call them, the lost tribes of the children of Israel. You ever heard of the lost tribes? They always say they'll say, if you deal with these Jews, they'll speak about themselves being Jews exactly. That's what they say, they're Jews, right? That's just one tribe.
Yeah, where's the other 11?
Jew goes back to Judah. But if you ask them, like, what about the other 11 tribes? There's 12 tribes of the nation of Israel.
J-E-W is a spinoff for Judah.
Yeah, right. They'll say I'm a Jew.
They're like short.
So they think they the real ones, but in actuality, the blacks.
Right.
Yeah, they call themselves Jewish.
They call themselves Jewish. Gotcha. Pertaining to be, like we just said, the suffix ish is the pertaining to. Like this shirt is black. It ain't black, but it's blackish. So if you're saying you're Jewish, or it's like you're actually pertaining to being a Jew. You hold the customs of a Jew.
Yeah. They don't even believe in the Bible.
But they don't actually read the Bible. They
read
the Talmud. The Babylonian Talmud.
Yeah.
But
like, think about it. Like, no, for real. Like, when you read the scriptures, show me one scripture in the Bible that tells us to wear yarmulkes, or a scripture that tells us as men to wear the curlies and shit like that. You see what I'm saying? No.
Or show us in the dress code when we have to live with
all black in an Abraham Lincoln hat. Where is that in the scriptures? But see, we've been beat down and pushed. I know you wanted at Jeremiah because that goes directly to it. So, but we've been stripped of everything to a point where they can be in front of us and we accept that as truth. because our people don't necessarily, number one, dig deeper, number one, into this book, but then just basic history. You know, basic history. Because we just accept everything. We're African Americans, we're black, we came over here in 1619. Here we are. And we just accept that. The majority of us, at least. The majority. I won't say all of us, but the mass majority of our people just accept it as a truth. We'll dig a little deeper, you know.
Verse 40 says, "Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land."
Right,
And
so it said those are the 10 tribes that were carried away prisoner out of their own land. So when Ezra actually made that reference to this book, he actually was an apocryphal scholar. You know, he actually studied. Yeah, that's what I said.
Columbus.
Christopher Columbus actually made a reference to the book of Ezra. He actually studied it. You know,
Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, he actually studied the apocrypha. And
Columbo.
Cristobal Colon. You know,
his real name,
which is his real name, you know, in his actual language. You know, that we saying it in his English.
What was he though? What was his nationality?
Spanish Jewish rat.
Yeah, he was a Jew, but you know, as people think, he basically was an Italian explorer or whatnot. You know,
based off where he lived.
Based off where he lived. Yeah, he actually got granted rights, if I'm not mistaken, from Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand to actually make that expedition here. Because he was when he was going to make the expedition, it was actually part of the policy to actually either get paid 10% or actually pay out 10%.
Because they invested a lot of money.
They invested a lot of money. He was actually a pretty, even though he had a certain position, so to speak, he wasn't of a noble stock.
Right.
And the individuals he brought with him wasn't of a noble stock. You know, they were actually here on a mission. And you see they actually, when you watch the movie, I'm telling you, watch the movie 1492, he actually, you know, he dealt with certain delegates and different people in a high position, but he didn't have the funds and he didn't have the power to actually just make that expedition on his own. You know
what this shows you too? The problem with our people again is we just hear Christopher Columbus. As a bad man, he just messed up the Indians. Stop right there. Thanksgiving. There's a lot of history involving Christopher Columbus.
Right.
That's a whole lot of important history right there. You know? I just want to point it as another point that we just get skimmed. We skim through things. They give us a layer, like a little script.
Paragraph in a textbook, school book.
Yep.
Yeah, you see that you don't really see the events that took place at that particular time. The individuals that was around Christopher Columbus, you know, which a lot of those were notable, notorious.
Yeah.
You know, you
said who?
I said a lot of individuals that was actually around Christopher Columbus, as well as other Edomites or so-called white people that actually partook in that expedition.
You know what he died from?
Where he died?
He died from a life of debauchery.
Right.
Yeah, his death is listed as debauchery. He died from, I think, syphilis, because he was a homosexual too. What? That's what I'm saying to you. Like, it's a lot of history.
I ain't that surprised.
Right. But that's not that. But see,
right
that's the point, is realizing that a lot of these people that brought our people down to the point that we are today, they were very evil, twisted-minded people, and it's much deeper than just simply he was supposed to go to India. They got over here, and then he beat up some Indians, and then here we are. It was a lot of stuff that went down.
Well, yeah, but even when you watch the movie 1492, they actually made it where he was like a revolutionary. He helped the Indians.
Right.
They had the cows and they had the bells, and hell no. He did everything but help the Indians.
If you read his
journal
here,
if
you read his journal, he said he was put his sword down.
Right.
For one moment.
So the Indians was lit, right? They was ready about that action, right?
Well, yeah. So they had to slaughter him and stuff because basically Christopher Columbus came and just
they brought war dogs.
They brought dogs. They was tearing them up.
Right.
Even
and they brought
after
disease.
Columbus, but they were basically also too. It said that he took over 500 Taino Indians back to Spain.
Yeah, he went back and forth.
So he was taking them in slavery and bringing them back over there to Europe. But they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that these people came in slave ships too.
Right.
Because if they let us come in slave ships and them come in slave ships together, then we'll realize we're the same people. They don't want to do that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and just like spoils of war. Like if you were to mine for gold, if you were to go on an expedition and mine for gold and say, all right, loan me $10,000, so to speak. I'm gonna need, a vehicle. I'm gonna need, actually expenses to actually have food, and I know it's gold in this location. What would you do to actually as proof that there's gold here?
Right.
You would bring back gold. Like, all right, actually, my gold is actually gold here. So if you actually keep funding me, then I can actually have enough gold to supply, and that's where you had, like you just said, Spanish, when they actually went back to Spain, he actually took natives there, and it was actually more proof that there were Native Americans in that land, and they were actually spoils of war, and they would actually parade them through the streets and things of that nature, because that was like a new discovery, so to speak. But most of the commoners, the thing was, commoners didn't know what the ruling elite didn't know. That's why the Bible is a king's book.
Right.
Like most people thought really even back then that the earth was flat. A lot of people were fixed on that lie. But in most cases, it really was the commoners that believed that the earth was flat. Now, like even today's time, most people still believing in that bullshit. But that's a commoner thing. But you have rich people knowledge and you have poor people knowledge.
Yeah.
That's why even in the libraries and these different museums, you have certain sections that's blocked off for the elite, the ruling class, and the story that they have and the perception that they have of life is totally different than what you have. That's why what you learn in the school system is totally different than what they actually learn. It's different education. It's different ways that they are brought up, because you're brought up in the ways of deception. Basically, you learn a lot when they actually learn the truth.
I wanna comment on that. See, I'm from Oakland, California, and like the most of the people that's out here, we all have like a seed of revolutionary. That's in us. Just naturally, off the rip.
Yeah.
So when I go other places, I'm automatically like, I gotta dim down to blend in, because when I'm at my natural self, I've been to start a revolution and have everybody walk out.
Yeah. And that's heavy too, because you'll go back to the history of California, and you'll see the different Watts riots and things, and they was turned up for a second, man. But see, here in the South, this was like a beatdown country. State. The region. What they call these sundown towns. If you ever heard that term, mainly these jakes just try to get by and not step on toes, because that started even back then, when they would get the shit beat out of them, and they would go to certain restaurants and they was looking to just eat a meal right beside the white man. That was good enough. That was good enough for the so-called blacks. In today's time, they're not looking to ruffle feathers. They remember those ass whoopings. They remember the beatings and the lynchings, the castrations. It's still Jakes that getting castrated to this day, man.
To this
day. Over there, they had the so-called Jake. What a Jake that was over. What is that?
Piedmont Pole?
No. Well, that was another one. That's true. That's one. I'm talking about over there at AUC, the little bridge. What is that? MLK. Somebody he committed suicide. You commit suicide by HBCU?
Come on, hanging yourself on the damn tree, lynching yourself. You got that in Jeremiah?
Oh yeah.
Because it was all. It's slavery is very systematic. It's very. It's a hard job. It takes a lot of funding. It takes. We get that in Psalms 83.
Right.
It takes allegiances of nations to come together. We can get that also in Joel, how the Tyre is out on. And like I said, it's a concerted effort to actually bring a people down. That's not easy work to put somebody in slavery, man, and keep them in slavery. That's why this whole system is built around keeping us down. The system. That's the system. The word system, actually, when you look it up, it means a pit. It keeps you down from what? The policies, the legislation, everything on the whole. That's why you'll see when drugs mainly hit hard in the 70s, in the 80s, it mainly hit the black community. When diseases outbreak hit, syphilis and HIV, all these different sicknesses, it mainly hit the black coronavirus. It hit the black. Why is it never hitting the rich? It just slides over the rich, but it just hits the jakes in the hoods and the poverty. And even another point, even in these different ghettos, when you look up the term ghetto, With that, we were systematically placed there in the hoods, the projects, and the ghettos, the low-income areas. You know, we're not able to afford healthcare. When you look up that term ghetto, it means a place where the Jews actually live. You actually look up that definition, it will say it. A place where the Jews live.
That definition goes back to the Jews who actually living in little slum communities.
Yeah.
But when they came over here and they put us in the projects, they became ghetto. So ghetto was just a type of living.
It's a type of living condition.
Yeah, a condition.
But the truth,
but it just so happens to be that you have the actual Jews in the ghetto.
Words are powerful.
Yeah, you know, on the hood. You know. This is Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah 17, verse 4. It says, "And thou, even thyself."
And thou, it said, thou means you, basically. And thou, even thyself, basically you, even yourself, keep on.
Shall discontinue from thine heritage.
Shall discontinue from thy heritage. When you have a discontinuance, it's a cutoff. Like if you play a video game and you goddamn
pull the plug.
It just cut off. It just discontinued. You might cut it back on, and you might have to start back from the beginning if you was in the middle of a damn campaign or conquest on a video game. It got discontinued. It just cut off. So, and that happened with us. Our culture, which our culture is written in the Bible, we have our way of living,
eating habits,
worship,
holidays.
Yeah, like us. You would look at it like a cult. Some people would look at it like a cult. You might not necessarily look at it like a cult. But really the word cult is not a bad word. That's where you have the term culture. The root word of the word culture is cult. Cult just means worship. You have Catholicism, that's a cult. Yeah, cultivate. But a culture, when you look it up, or a cult, it's a worship, and it indicates how you eat, how you dress, what you worship. All these different things actually involve you in a cult. So we are a cult, but it has a negative connotation today. That's how the white man plays on you through newspeak, man. Oh, you're in a cult. Everything is a cult. American style of living, that's a cult.
That's a cult.
Actually, if you celebrate Christmas, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, Halloween, if you're celebrating Halloween, you're in a cult.
It says,
but it's a righteous cult, and you have a wicked cult.
We have the cult and the autocult.
Yeah, you have the cult.
Yep, and the occult is witchcraft.
Witchcraft.
Yeah.
You said the what? A cult. OCCULT.
Yeah, the cult.
It's like the negative side.
Yeah. It says, "And shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave you."
Right, and thou shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave you. A heritage is basically something that was inherited unto you. Our heritage as Israelites was given unto us from the Most High. He told us how we ought to dress. In Numbers 15 and 35, it said that we would wear our garments with fringes and a ribbon of blue to remember the law, statutes, and commandments. He gave us a civil law. He gave us a ceremonial law,
right.
How we ought the dietary law, what we also the sacrificial laws. All these things are written within the book of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And then you think about 10 commandments. It's 613 commandments. Right? It's not just 10 commandments.
Right.
It's way more commandments than that.
600.
600.
Well, this devil. But you know what? This society we live in, this MF got thousands of laws
in different counties.
In different counties, it might vary between.
It's really millions.
You got to think we are a nation. How would we be a nation without laws? It's a lot of laws. It's not every law may not be for you. Like some laws are for women. If a woman's on her period, is what she's supposed to do. If a woman's pregnant, is what she's supposed to do.
Right.
How you supposed to eat?
How you supposed to build a house?
Yeah, it's all how to dictate how we move.
What do you do when you're like? There's a law actually mold in the house.
Right.
If a house actually has mold or mildew, suffrage, and things of that nature, the scripture says to tear it down.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Tear the whole thing down?
Yeah, you know how bad it is.
Yeah.
Not the whole thing. You take out a certain section.
But if it's extreme infestation and it's unrecovered, not to be recovered, they say that you gotta tear it down.
Me and my girl, man, we be cool. When we go home, she got some mold in her closet.
Right.
I swear, I ain't gonna swear, but I say, I just feel like when we get to the crib, the vibes be off.
Yeah, because mold, when you breathe that mold in, like you have You got black, you got black mold, you got green mold, you got white mold. There's different types of molds. So when you breathe those molds in, anything you take in, it becomes a part of you,
right?
And it affects you. So that's the reason why. That's why we're going into the law. See, the law of the Bible says you go get a priest, you go get somebody, they check it out. If it's bad, you might close. If it's not too bad, you close it off, and then you come back and revisit it. If it's really bad, you gotta tear it down. But this society, I've worked on houses. So when we go in houses and they be like, oh, it's a mold underneath the sink or by the bathroom. Well, just spray it with some bleach and paint over it. Just show you how this society don't give a damn about us.
Right.
Sweep it right under the rug, man.
Yeah, and if you inhale mold for a certain amount of time, that will
kill you.
It's poisonous.
Yeah, it'll have harsh damage onto your lungs. Like you said, when you go into these different, you might be in a apartment complex, and you might request your house to be sprayed down and took care of because you have a mold infestation. They might take weeks, if not months, to get to you, man.
Right.
That's wicked. You should actually be able to sue them according to, and to be honest, you can't sue them. Some people can actually sue for mold problems and things of that nature, but that's according to the law.
Right.
So so the scriptures have environmental laws.
Right.
It tells you to keep a land Sabbath. That's another law. It says 6 days thou shalt work.
6 years.
6 years. What was that? Leviticus 20?
Yeah.
It says 6 years you're supposed to utilize the land to maximum. You have the ability to utilize it to maximum capacity. You can farm the land, but at 7 years you can't do nothing to that land.
And
why do you do that? It helps it revitalizes. It actually helps it regenerate. But in today's time, you have people that just rape the land.
Yeah.
That's why the world is in the conditions that it's in.
Right.
They're talking about climate change. They're talking about all these different things where the world is basically just
things are going extinct,
dying out.
Right.
Trees are going away.
Trees are going away.
Now look at the condition of people. That falls into the law of what you're supposed to eat. Leviticus 11. There's certain things you're supposed to stay away from, and certain things that you can eat. Yeah. But you can eat certain types of beetles too, according to the law. Can't eat pork, things of that nature.
Can't eat shrimp, crab, lobster.
That just ain't no Muslim thing.
Yeah, it's not a Muslim thing. But they got it from the Bible.
They got it from the
part
Bible.
of the Abrahamic religions. But did you finish that?
No.
All right, finish that.
You still pulling out? That's a real quick one today.
Okay.
Real quick. This is Jeremiah 51:19, and it says, "The portion of Jacob is not like them. He is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name."
That's right, and that's why I tell you also in Deuteronomy 4:6, keep therefore and do them. That's talking about the law, statutes, and commandments. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom in the sight of the nations. And the nations will look at us, and they would basically behold us as being a righteous and a people. That's why we were known as the children of light.
Right.
Because these different nations walk in the darkness. Like right now, right? We're in the midst of a deadly pandemic known as the coronavirus. Do you know how they said that actual coronavirus actually occurred?
It was patented. It was created.
Right. We believe it was created. That's the conspirator side, conspiracy. We believe these different nations actually came together and actually created the disease. But according to them, they say that it occurred.
Mainstream media.
Yeah, mainstream media. They say in Wuhan, China, that was grounds where the
wet market.
The disease actually took place, and they say it actually was established in a wet market.
A wet market.
A wet market.
You get fish and
okay.
Well, a wet market really is the location. Like I said, it actually has certain foods. But China was big on eating abominable food. That's why you'll cut on YouTube, you'll see them eating a live squid, or you'll see them eating a live damn frog. The Chinese and Japanese eat damn near anything. And they'll go viral on YouTube. You'll see videos and they'll just eat just abominable food.
Yeah.
And a lot of it would that's the culture of them eating in those different wet markets. They'll eat those different abominable foods. And in those markets they actually had those abominable food animals actually living in caged locations
above each other.
They would actually cage animals. You would have a pangolin, you would have maybe a monkey on top of that, and you might have a pig on top of that. And they was basically saying it was such a bacteria.
Like the shit flows.
Infested.
It would just fall from cage to cage.
Location, yeah, it would fall cage to cage. What? And if the monkey would defecate, it would land in the penguin's cage. And the penguin is like a damn. It's like an aardvark. You ever seen an aardvark? What you call it? Anteater. Yeah. You ever seen an anteater? Yeah. That little hard shell. Yeah. That's kind of like a penguin. They might be in the same family. But basically, all that defecation and all that piss and that same concentrated environment, it created a strain of virus. So when one person ate that, that's where ground. That was basically the beginning of an outbreak. And then they touched one person. Then 2 touched to 5. 5 turned to 10. 10 turns to 100. 100 turns to 1,000. Now, shit, it's over 250,000 people that died in America alone, if I'm not mistaken. And millions of people are infected. But if they would have kept Leviticus the 11th chapter,
none of that would have happened.
They wouldn't have had. The whole world wouldn't have to suffer all these different jobs being shut down, all these different jakes being thrown out of their houses from being furloughed or from being unemployed and thrown out and unemployed. Excuse me.
You know, if I may, with the diseases too, these people, going back to the Leviticus law of eating, if you were to eat properly, your immune system would be on point, your respiratory would be on point, your digestive system would be on point. Like for instance, when you go into like you just say, you look up a picture from 100 years ago, like 1920 or 1919 or something, you're not gonna see a lot of morbidly obese people walking around. So part of the reason why America is still sitting in this pandemic as they are in other countries, Sweden's opening back up, Canada's opening back up, all these other places starting to open up because why? They have a better diet. The American diet is trash, man. Like especially specifically amongst our people eat pork 4 or 5 times a day. In between that, they eat beef 3 other times a day. They don't drink water. They don't eat vegetables.
There was a year, and it might be this year. I had to look it up, but more people drunk soda than actually water.
Oh, yeah.
That's all. Right.
These people, it's people that drink soda more. I remember when I was younger, you just fucking drink hella soda. You rarely drink water. You know, you come into being an Israelite, you start drinking water and shit. Like, damn, I'm drinking different types. But back then, you drink soda throughout the day.
For breakfast, I remember when I was working at Vitamin Shop. I used to work at Vitamin Shop. And I was trying to tell this guy, I was telling him about the fact of constipation. He needed to drink water. This nigga gonna tell me,
he got mad.
I ain't got time to drink water through the day. I just walked away. I was like, I can't.
Yeah, I just walked away.
You a grown man telling me that you don't got time to drink water and you constipated. Have a good day, man. Like whatever you do, just
like that's cutting into your schedule. Like drink some water. I was like, damn. Like it's an actual task. But you
drink some water. I ain't got time.
And that's that American style. That's why you see when you read the Bible, America is known as Babylon the Great. Babylon is this goes back to the Hebrew word, which means confusion. Yeah. You know, this is a city that's mixed with confusion. You have same-sex marriage. You got men that. Oh yeah, you got it on. You're on point.
Let's go.
You got men that cut their rods off and changing it to a vagina, and then they actually can change their gender on their ID. Now they got identify as a woman and have sex with straight men. And you can't even get those transgenders locked up for that.
You're homophobic. You're homophobic for being against it.
And you're homophobic for being against it, man.
That's what it's going to.
He is so like Caitlyn Jenner. He was the what's his name? Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner was so brave for saying that I want to be a woman. Oh my God, the world is crazy for being a woman now.
That's the woman of the year.
Right.
Woman of the year. But he doesn't have a reproductive system. A man can't become a woman because a man can't have a reproductive system. If you're a woman, just because you actually attaching implants, silicone on your titties, and you actually basically tucking in your nuts, that doesn't make you a woman, man. You don't have ovaries.
You don't have the Y chromosome.
Yeah, that's it. You don't have the Y.
2X chromosome.
Yeah, because the male has the XY, and I think the female has the XX. A man changing his gender, he can't change his chromosome.
Right.
So a man cannot be a woman likewise, a woman cannot be a man. It's impossible. The Lord made you that way. But according to this place, Babylon the Great, a man could be a woman. He could change his ID, and he could identify as a damn woman.
Well, you know, it was a worker at Amazon. I think she is suing Amazon because he was transgender, but she got pregnant. So, but she identified as a man, I think, but she got pregnant, and she wanted to take off her maternity leave. What? Amazon was like, no.
You're a man.
You know what I'm saying? It's not, you know,
So
confusion.
I be getting lost. Like a man.
How you want to be? But then when you do get pregnant, now you want to take maternity leave? Amazon was like,
You want to be a male mother.
What kind of shit is that?
A man mom.
You want to be a man.
A man mom.
See, that's why this place, the scripture says, Babylon ought to be destroyed. This place has to burn, man.
That's confusing as shit.
Be wanting to stay here. What would this place be another 50 years?
Imagine the end of this decade.
You'll be able to actually marry a dog.
At this
You'll
point,
be able to marry a horse. You actually take
Shit, you already
take
can.
your horse to the altar.
You can do that in certain. You can actually do that in certain states.
Certain states.
Like
You
Oregon,
can marry
bestiality
Marry a
is
tree.
legal.
They marry the ocean. What kind of shit is that?
Yeah, marry a sick dog. Now that's a big thing.
Like, can I got it. How old are you? If I'm
I'm 34.
okay, so you can remember 2000.
Yeah.
You can see where 2000 turned into 2010. Look where we are now, going into in 2020. Can you imagine what 2030 will have us doing out here and accepting? The goal of the elite is to make it where it's an androgynous society where you can't tell nothing. It's just like you don't know a dog's gender until you lift the leg up, and that's where they want to get it to. Just this weirdo. You can't be a man. You gotta just tuck your nuts and accept whatever come your way, man. You know, I got a quick picture. City of confusion. Dealing with the diet. This is Sirach 30 and 25, and it says a cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diets.
Right. In America, it's a fast food, a high protein, high carb diet, and people are extremely sick. And you see that, first off, America has the biggest medical industry in the world, the most funded. You know, we have the most, I would say, decorated medical industry in the world, but we have the sickest.
Right.
We have the sickest people here and the least treated, and people die the most here than any other country from these different medical drugs. You know, and they don't actually cure you. If you actually suffer from, you know, yeah, you get treated. If you have arthritis, there's a pill for that. If you're bipolar, there's a pill for that.
Take the pain away, not
Right.
It's not a solution. It's not
Yeah,
what it is.
They give you painkillers. You know, which I was talking to a brother about that before. Like back then, there was one big thing was Oxycontin. Oxycontin is a drug, if I'm not mistaken, for painkillers. If I'm not mistaken, Percocet, which became a street thing for majority of Jake to take, but it was first over the counter. It was prescribed to individuals that had certain ailments. But eventually, more people got addicted, and they started dying from those different drugs. There's actually a video on YouTube, and I was talking to a brother this week about it. There was people back in like the 80s or the 90s, and they were actually doing promotion commercials for Oxycontin. They was like, man, I had back pain, I had extreme, joint tenseness and things of that nature. It was so hard to even get out of bed. But then I started taking Oxycontin.
Miracle drug.
And it helped me out so much. Now I can play basketball. Now I can do that. And then what they would actually fast forward to the lives 20 or 30 years later. And they was like, man, I should never have took Oxycontin. They said what happened was I started taking it and I got addicted to it. A majority of them say they got either addicted, well, all of them say they got addicted. It has addicting effects. And then they said that they started to grow more of a tolerance. And some of them died. Some of them just dropped dead for overdose. Because what? When you take anything every single day, your tolerance goes up and up and up. But when you actually take those drugs, it starts to deteriorate your liver. It starts to deteriorate your kidneys. That's why when you watch these commercials, they'll say, they'll promote a drug that can actually help you with one thing, but then they'll go back.
In depth.
and then they'll slow it up again.
Like, you know, if you watch television, you see commercials, it's Humira, which Humira is you know, is basically a treatment pill, you know, for certain ailments and things like that. But then, right after that, he says, side effects may include, you know, vomiting,
diarrhea.
Diarrhea, you know what I'm saying? Diarrhea.
Cancer.
May cause even death. Then it says, go to your doctor to see what you should do. It's like, you just literally told me I could die
from this shit.
But you're promoting the television. But it's like, because even now, they can't even, like, they don't even do it as fast no more. Like, they'll literally tell you the side effects. May cause cancer, may cause death. But it's FDA approved.
FDA approved.
But people will still go to the doctor and they'll ask for a certain drug that they saw for money. Well, can I take the Humira? And doctor,
How can I reach y'all brothers?
We
I
out here.
gotta know how to find y'all.
Well, you can actually, we're actually out here every Saturday.
Here in this same spot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every
I
Saturday.
just work right up the street.
Oh, well, that's good.
Come in.
And we
holla.
also stream on YouTube too.
Stream on YouTube. If you know, may not have the time. Sometimes, you know, whatever, you know, your schedule might change or whatnot. But on YouTube, you know, GMS Atlanta.
I'm finna follow y'all right now. Subscribe right now.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah, you give him the main page. We're gonna keep on.
Okay.
give them the bump page.
I'll give them both.
Give him the main and the bot page. Because it's also brothers up there.
Yeah.
Not right down the street where we teach.
Okay.
But we all over. It's brothers in New York, brothers in California, all over the United States preaching the same word.
I'm gonna just go to Psalms 83 since that's what you pulled earlier. This is Psalms 83 and 1, and it says, "Keep not thou silent, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult."
So there's enemies of the Lord. And if they're enemies of the Lord, they're definitely enemies of us. And it says the enemies make a tumult. Keep going.
Okay. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
They that hate thee have lifted up their head. Meaning they've gotten in positions of power. They've raised up. See, when we were in our rulership, we had our foot on the nation's necks where it ought to be. Because these nations are not supposed to be in rulership. Now you see, since these nations are in rulership, that animals are dying off, everything is damn near going extinct, man. That's why I say, really, there is no possibility of this world actually, you know, going to the future. There is no future, man, at this point. Everything is dying off. I was talking about that with a brother the other day, man. You watch these different animal documentaries, then you'll get into an animal, then they'll be like, yeah, it's only so many of them left, and it's not gonna. Right. Like 1,000 left and 500 left. Polar bears are dying off.
500 in captivity.
Siberian tigers are dying off.
Yeah, it's more lions and tigers in America than free. And also remember a few years ago, in this decade, scientists predict that the ocean is supposed to just die. Like, will not dry up, but just because of the acidity and pollution and all that, that basically all is just gonna start. It's just gonna be completely. That's what I said. Can you imagine what the end of this decade? Like, give 10 years to this. Imagine what the ocean's gonna be.
Right, because you gotta think about it too. You have these sailors, so to speak. You know, you have individuals. Their job is to drop that big. I forget what the occupation name of it, and they'll have shows where they'll actually drop down the big ass net and they'll spring it up and you'll see all these different crabs. Big catch. And they catch big, man. Yeah, they make a lot of money. They make a large amount of money. $1,000 a month. They might hunt for swordfish for consumption. I'm speaking about unlawful food.
Yeah.
But they'll hunt for swordfish, or they might hunt for crab, or it might be squid,
shark,
or shrimp, mussels. Now you gotta think, what the hell are all of those animals actually doing down there? Right. They have a purpose now. They're not just down there fucking relaxing, kicking shit. They have a job. Everything on the earth has a job. Bees got a job.
Right.
Fucking what do bees do? They pollinate.
And bees they're going away.
Bees probably one of the most important.
One of the most important.
One of the most important.
Like top 3.
Yeah, they top dogs, man.
Who that?
Bees. Yeah, well, Albert Einstein said, they said if all bees died, that all humans will die within 4 years. Matter of fact, I got a picture if you want to see. This is mussels. This is what mussels do. This is one has the mussels in the water and it clear. You see how clear that water is? Yeah. That's its whole purpose, is to keep the water clean.
That's crazy.
That was it.
Yeah, so you
put
have
it on the
these
camera
unclean.
too.
That's the power. That's the power of
That's crazy.
unclean animals. Unclean animals' job is to clean up unclean environment. Like if certain environments are, deemed unclean, you would have unclean animals to clean up. If you have a fish tank, right? What's that fish? You can put a certain algae eater. You can have algae eaters in your fish tank.
Stuck on the side of the.
And they'll be stuck on the side, but they have a very, and that's all they do. But would you eat that? No.
Right. It's like a catfish.
Pigs.
Pigs is our unclean meat. Is unclean for consumption, but it has a very, very important job on the farm. Back then, you didn't have trash cans. You wouldn't have the trash cans. You wouldn't have the
trash service.
Trash services. You wouldn't have to throw it on the side of the curb back then. And they would have a trash man throw all these different things on the back. You would actually have pigs. You could throw it all to the pigs, and the pig would eat it all. It don't matter what it is.
Back then everything, because it wasn't like too much
plastic. Yeah, they have all that plastic.
You know what I'm saying?
A pig will eat it too.
It was biodegradable, and what you couldn't like give immediately.
But you have to go to all these different supermarkets.
Yeah. And you would burn it.
Right.
You would probably burn. Like if you had like an old wagon. You can take that old wagon and use it for firewood in the wintertime.
Right.
And you can take a wagon wheel and you can build another wagon.
That's it, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like there were things that people do, especially if you're poor. You couldn't, you wouldn't just waste stuff. You would actually try to find some way to
repurpose it.
Repurpose it.
If I may say, I used to grow up a little bit down in Louisiana. My grandma and grandpa, we used to shuck corn, fish every morning, and then towards like the afternoon time, we'll take our trash and feed it to the hogs. And then we'll just have, we'll just hose the whole hog pen down with water because, pigs, hogs, they don't have sweat glands. So that's why they roll around to stay cool in the mud because they can't sweat like we do. You know what I'm saying? To cool themselves.
Which keeps the toxins.
That's it. So that's why they can eat anything. I don't know if you ever watched the show called The Walking Dead, but there's one episode in there where they were raising pigs, and the pigs were actually eating a zombie, and they were A-okay after that.
Yes, pigs eat disease off of each other.
They can
eat feces, right?
They can eat anything.
They eat everything. They eat everything.
It's trash disposal.
They're scavengers. Their animal classification is scavengers, right? No. They would be not scavengers. Excuse me. It would be because you got like carnivores, you got herbivores. Somebody look up their classification.
Consumer
shit. They're really one of the ones at the bottom. Right.
But they show you that in the Flintstones. You ever watch the Flintstones? They use animals for like objects and tools and stuff. Something like if they're throwing away food, the garbage disposal is big.
Trash.
Because they understand that that's what they do. They dispose unwanted waste. Most people are like food waste.
So they eat meat and veggies.
So they eat meat and veggies. But it's not for consumption. But that's why that's powerful because the scripture says even somebody get Leviticus 11:7. But that even links up with science.
Right.
Because it kind of gave it a distinction because it is a mammal, so to speak. Instead, though but it said, but he's unclean. And they made a distinction with the pig because it is a distinct animal, even when because it didn't fall under. Because I was thinking, it ain't a scavenger though. Right. It is. It has basically.
It's an omnivore.
Yeah, it's an omnivore. You guys.
Yeah, this is Leviticus 11:7, and it says in the swine.
And the swine is another term for pig. Keep going.
Though he divided the hoof. And be cloven footed.
And though he be cloven footed. Keep going.
Yet he cheweth not the cud.
Right, cheweth not the cud. The cud represents the grass. Like you have, like what we can eat is we can eat cow, we can eat chicken. Those are actually clean meats. When you think about a cow consumes, then they'll regurgitate. Yeah. But you never seen a cow damn preying on a prey. They're actually hunting down certain animals to eat. They don't eat meat. They're omnivores. they just eat grass.
Herbivores.
Herbivores, excuse me. They're herbivores, they just eat grass. So their their body is conditioned for consumption. Like a pig. When pigs eat all these different unclean meats, it breaks down in their system and it goes throughout their DNA. You are what you eat. It actually fuels you. Like everything that we eat fuels us. You learn that from working out. They'll tell you, eat this, eat that. It fuels your muscles. You gotta eat carbs. You gotta eat protein for your muscles to grow. You gotta eat this. You gotta eat that. So everything has a distinct purpose within your body. Everything actually fuels your body one way or another. So what about when these different animals eat these unclean meats? Yeah. And then you eating these unclean animals? That's why Jake would have. When we say Jake, we're talking about our people, Israelites, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. They suffer from high blood pressure. They suffer from gout. They suffer from all these different sicknesses, diabetes. And it's extremely hard for them to treat them. It was this one Jake that I worked with. Some of them doctors would tell them, you got to stay away from pork, man. They'll figure out, they'll see that their diet's jacked up their tones. They got to stay away from pork. Niggas still was eating pork. You damn near dropped dead on the job. Damn near on his stomach, flat on their face from eating pork. That's a deadly meat. But the thing is, there's so many meats that you can eat that can replace eating swine. Yeah, well,
pork, because like a pork chop. Well, you got some beef, you can steak.
Right.
Right. Lamb chop.
Lamb chop.
And to add to that point of the cud, animals that chew cud, they have multiple chamber stomachs. We not a people. We don't eat. The science behind it too is we don't eat monogastric animals, which is a pig has one stomach, so the food goes directly from his mouth through his esophagus through all the acids directly to his stomach. It's not as with us. You eat it goes directly down. That's why you don't eat humans, because when they chew, the animals that chew up the cud, what they are eating is not what is being digested. Like, for instance, that makes sense. Like, it's stored in another chamber while they're eating, and that's why they're always chewing. Like animals that chew up the cud, like rabbits. Right. The scriptures say that they chew up the cud, but we can't eat it. Right. So there's certain animals, but it's a matter of the processes of what we eat. It's a deep science to why we eat the way we eat. Yeah. It's not just put some flour and some lemon pepper seasoning on it and fry it and call it a meal. No, you, like the brother said, you are what you eat. So if you want to eat an animal that has, rotting flesh in it, or you know what I'm saying? Like, you remember we did that lesson on that.
Yeah. Did you say the Bible says something about rabbits?
Yeah.
It says not to eat rabbits.
We're not supposed to eat rabbits. The hair rabbits.
Leviticus 11 chapter. That's the dietary law for the Bible.
And Deuteronomy 14.
And Deuteronomy the 14th chapter. You read that to see what to and what not to eat.
Because with those animals, see, just because some of our people again go in the country and they eat squirrels and rabbits. There's a show on Netflix where they lead them people out in the middle of the wilderness alone. I think it's called Alone, right?
It's called Alone.
And in that show, there was an episode where the people that sit on different islands, they were somewhere up in the tundra area. And, it wasn't much food. So they go as long as they could. And one guy, I was like, I'm watching, I'm hyped, and one guy, he caught a rabbit. And I was like, fuck, man, don't eat that shit, man. I'm thinking from the law, and every person that one person ate a rat. He was like, I got me a meal. He was happy, ate that shit. He almost died. Ate a rabbit, almost died, because, again, our people, we eat this stuff and we think it's cool because you can eat it and you can just cook it. You can just cook it, yeah.
Fire only takes somewhat the impurities out of certain animals. Like, you have certain foods that you got to eat at a certain temperature. Yeah. And that's why we're not supposed to, also dealing with the dietary law, you're not supposed to eat medium rare. You're not supposed to eat food with the blood in it. Because you got to think, blood holds a lot of toxins. And toxins, a lot of things, it has a lot of parasites. And if you eat a lot of stuff, you'll have intestinal parasites. That's what majority of these individuals actually suffer within America and really the world, is intestinal parasites. Worms. And it's different types. It's not only worms, candida, different fungus in your body, like we're talking about. That's a parasite. Because what? It drains out. I know you're familiar with cars. You ever heard of the term parasitic drain? Any brothers ever heard of that term? Parasitic drain. basically when your battery dies. You know, you might be driving your car and then it don't cut on. That's called parasitic drain.
Yeah, because
Then you have to deal with. Then you have to actually go around. You know, you have to figure out what's going on with your car. It might be an alternator, or and it might just be loose terminals, but it's actually causing a parasitic drain, which is actually stripping your body. Stripping the car from the power. So your body will actually be drained. That's why the majority of people, if you fatigue throughout the day, you might be, like I say, chronically fatigued. You might be tired, things of that. It might be parasites in your body from the food that you're actually eating. So what do you have to do? You have to go on a cleanse. You have to actually look at what's going in your body that's actually making you sick, and you have to remove and isolate that sickness. Then you have to actually take the herbs and what they say, detox. Take the toxins out of your body so that your body can actually repair itself. Because the body is extremely powerful. It's a science. It's a real science to it. What you eat, what you not, ought not to eat.
Right.
You know, just like a car, dealing in the terms of a car. You put gas, right, in your car to fuel it. You can't put water in your car and think it's going to drive.
Right.
Same thing with your body. They can just put anything in their body and think that's going to, that's going to mobilize you. You eat shrimp.
Right.
Your body wasn't designed to actually intake crab, shrimp, lobster. Same thing like with a car. You put milk in a gas tank, people gonna look at you like you goddamn crazy.
Shoot,
man.
even if you go to the gas station, there's 87, 89, and 93 or 91. What does your manual say? Or what does our manual say? You can't put pig in there. You can't put this in there. A car manual, it can take 91, but not 87. Put 87, you gonna fuck shit up.
Just start choking.
Right.
You know, because it's not designed for that. Try to go over the hill, it's struggling.
Right.
Same thing with those trucks, and especially with trucks. You put the wrong gasoline in the truck, and I've seen that before. Individuals putting the wrong gasoline in the truck, that should be choking like a motherfucker.
Right.
Like, oh shit. Then you wonder what's going on. Like, oh damn, I don't.
Then your engine will go out.
Your engine will go out.
You know,
that's
the
it.
octane whatnot. The engine will fuck up. We fast. See, you have actually the Day of Atonement, which is a nation fast, but there is fast that you can actually do personal fast.
Right.
You know, if you have sicknesses, or you feel like your thoughts, evil spirits is actually messing with you a lot. You know your thoughts is being played negative. Like now, the world is suffering a depression, man. Really, if the world actually fasted more, it would actually help them out.
It would.
These people don't fast.
This is a carnal place.
When most people are depressed, what do? They eat more fast food and sweets to alleviate themselves, which really makes them sicker.
It's comfort food.
It's comfort food because you'll eat it, then later on you'll feel actually sicker, man.
Right.
So actually, fasting has a lot of nutritional benefits. It actually, the science of fasting is what? You're shutting down your system so it can actually have time to repair itself. A lot of that food that you eat, it takes hours to, it takes time to digest. Red meat, you eat steak, you see how hard it is to chew certain steaks? You gotta think how hard it is for your body to break that down.
Right.
A lot of food actually weighs on you, especially fried food. Fried food, like me and fried food don't go together. Me personally, I don't like eating fried food like period, because it's heavy, it's greasy, and then all that grease you gotta think. Your body is trying to digest and cut through all that grease to process it, to feed you, to fuel you, and it's really, your body doesn't do a good job with that. So a lot of times, you have to have cutoff rates of that. Whether you're fasting for a short period of time, or really the best amount of time is really 24 hours. Cutting off food and water, but it is different variables.
It's personal. It's a very personal.
It's a very personal thing. Like, all right, I'm just gonna fast from meats. I'm not gonna eat meats. I'm not gonna eat sugar, white sugar. I'm cutting that off for a while. I'm cutting off alcohol for a while. So it's different things you could do to just,
personally connect yourself to the Most High.
Personally connect yourself to the Most High. You got something?
Yeah. This is Sirach 31, and I'm gonna start at 16, and it says, "Eat as it becometh a man those things which are set before thee, and devour not, lest thou be hated. Leave off first for manners' sake, and be not unsatiable, lest thou offend. And when thou sit among many, reach not thine hand out first at all.
Right.
A very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured."
Right, and that's talking about really just common etiquette, and that's pretty heavy too. You said a little is enough for a man well nurtured.
Right.
That's why even what you made me think about when you think about these high scale restaurants. You might go to these high end restaurants, or you watch it on YouTube and you see how people eat. Just because they might pay fucking $900 for a meal, don't mean that they're getting a plate that's damn big for food. It might be just a little steak, it might be a little side, and you be like, how the hell this shit that expensive? The nutritional density that a lot of those foods hold is a lot more than actually what we eat. You see, you might eat a burger, you might eat 3 burgers and fucking 4 fries, and it ain't gonna hold half as much as a lot of those foods that those high end restaurants hold. It's a way and it's a practice that they actually that takes place on how they actually take care of their foods.
Right.
Like Kobe beef. Kobe beef is the most expensive beef product that you actually purchase, and it comes from a location, Kobe, Japan.
Right.
I don't think you can get it in America, honestly.
I don't think you can get it in America.
You got Wagyu.
If you get it in America, I think it's
a lot of it's fake. And
it's a generic. It's basically an off-brand style.
it's Kobe. It's what is it? What is it called again?
What?
Is it,
Wagyu?
Yeah,
Steak?
like they cow. They allegedly
Right.
have illegal cows in the West Coast. A lot of it's cap.
But with Kobe beef in Kobe, Japan, they'll actually clean the parasites off of the cows. They'll actually what they say to make the cow actually have that sweet taste. They'll make it actually drink beer.
And then massage it. It's stressless.
They'll massage it. They'll spit sake on it so it can actually clean it. Then they'll scrub it down. And then that meat is actually a very expensive meat.
Right.
And that's really how you're supposed to tend to your meats.
That's it.
But now you have all these different
slaughterhouses.
You have these slaughterhouses with all these different concentrated animals, and that's why you have these different groups that are buck up against
Right.
the government, and then they'll run in these slaughterhouses and do recording, and you will see these animals are basically being mistreated
Right.
and mishandled,
Not clean, right?
and it's not clean right. That's why we get sick from actually lawful foods that we
The animals are sick.
You eat chicken and you be sick.
Right.
You eat beef and you be sick. Really, beef is some of the worst meat.
Worst
Beef is the equivalent of pork today, man.
Right.
Steak.
Hey.
Steak is horrible for you nowadays. But back then, it was actually good to eat. You see? So, matter of fact, you get that in Psalms 82:5, it's a little bit more.
I can just read this one. I said,
Everything is just thrown off under this rulership of this devil.
I'm gonna skip the verse 23 real quick. This is Sirach 31:23, and it says, "Whoso is liberal of his meat, man shall speak." Well, no, that's something else. I'm just go back to 19.
But yeah, and the thing is, you're not supposed to eat excessively.
Yeah.
Like, this is a gluttonous-based society. Right?
All right, now.
This is a gluttonous-based society, and people just eat. You'll see that going back to YouTube. You'll see these different individuals.
Mukbang.
Mukbang. Yeah, the
That
mukbang.
mukbang.
Yeah, that shit.
Mukbang,
They'll
Fucking-
have those eating contests. They'll have these plates, and they might try to eat like 50 burgers. And some of these individuals accomplish that shit. Like, how the hell you doing
Right,
that, man?
right.
They be having a lot of parasites in their body, man. And give them assistance, man.
Most of them die.
Cheering them on.
Too.
Oh yeah,
They gotta have ambulances nearby.
you're not supposed to do that, man. They had this one dude who had that fast food. He was eating fast food. He had
Man versus
I think it was super.
Suicide.
And he almost died.
He almost died from that.
He almost died from depression.
He was proving the point, though.
He only commit
That
suicide.
was a fucked up point. He was proving that shit is wrong, man.
That food is toxic and it don't break down. I think one of the ladies had like the oldest McDonald's burger in the world. She
They
did,
look new.
that thing was brand new. Body food is supposed to break down in due time. You take greens, you can't even leave certain greens out for 24 hours. That should break down. But the meat that you eat, you leave a McDonald's burger, you leave a Burger King burger out, you leave a Taco Bell taco or burrito. You can leave it out for days, months. You can actually put it in the closet and store it up for decades and come back to it, and it's not breaking down. What is it doing inside of your body? It ain't breaking down. That's why the majority of these people are sick, and the government knows that. But it's a fast food chain market that's making billions of dollars from blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. And it ain't the super rich. It ain't the high class that's eating that garbage. Everybody's not eating McDonald's. You know, it's just mainly our people. That's why we're constantly sick and have to run to this white man for help, which is not here to help us. He's here to hurt us. Going back to like we just said, it's a cycle. Then they go to these pharmaceutical places
I noticed that.
for treatment.
I noticed you don't see no Caucasian and nothing on them tribes.
Oh, definitely not. Because the white man is not of the children of Israel.
Really?
He springs out of from the children of Edom.
Caucus?
Yeah, the Caucasus is mountains is a region, but his actual forefather, his name is Esau, which is in the Bible.
I know about Esau.
You know about
He sold
Esau?
his birthright, right?
He sold his birthright.
Yeah.
But what did it say about Esau when he came out? Somebody get that Genesis 25 and 25. Oh.
I get
Mad.
it.
Huh?
He was mad.
No, I'm gonna read it real fast. And we finna wrap up in a second.
You got it. Go.
This is Genesis 25 and 25. And the first came out red all over, like in hairy garments.
See that? And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. The so-called white man is in white. That term white was put on that race, I think it was the 17th century, if I'm not mistaken. White is just a term. Like, let me take something that's white. This is white. All right? The white man is not actually white. He actually comes from a nation. The Bible deals with nationality. And he actually red. Why? Because his blood shows forth through his skin.
Wasted away is he.
And Esau means wasted away is he. His pigment is stripped. You know, Jake talked about the having a skin pigment from being dark skinned. Everybody has pigment, but the so-called white man.
And they call his name Esau.
Like us, we're not black. We're different shades of brown. But that's not a nationality either. When you look at it, when you actually have, you fill out an application or something, they'll make you check, say black or African American, and those are just derogatory terms. They don't actually come from an actual nationality. Nations are structured and built from forefathers. Fathers will have children. Children will start tribes. Tribes will I think they say clans, tribes, and then you have nations. That's how it becomes nations.
Verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel.
Right.
He described his color.
And it described his color because he had regular pigment. Dealing even going back to the beginning with Adam. Adam goes back to the Hebrew word Adama, which means brown. The brown is different shades of brown. Yeah. And that's what the Lord actually created man. That's why even the earth, the same properties in the earth is the exact same properties in earth. You look at the periodic table, iron, manganese, all these different minerals.
Yeah, minerals and trace minerals.
Minerals and trace minerals, all the minerals and trace minerals. You got to get it out of the earth from eating fruits and vegetables that come out of the earth because we came out of the earth. That's why we're different shades of brown. But the Esau is the so-called white man. But hey, there's so much that we would like to go into, step for step. But hey, you right here, so Lord willing, next time, we'll keep going. Any questions that you might have, come out and come out and listen.
What time y'all gather?
2:33 o'clock.
Yeah, 2:33 o'clock.
Okay.
And we usually close around this time, 5:36.
Okay.
All right.
So, hey man, I appreciate you. I gotta get back to my girl.
Okay, you got to
Keep it tight. Keep happy life, happy life.
All right, so with that, we're going to end up by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash.
Jump on to the Boston Elders of Great Millstone. Shalom.
So,